1, 2, 3, 4. See, we'll need a fitting for that, and then we'll need something for up there. That's going away, so we're gonna need to replace that. Oh yeah, and that box is gonna have to get bigger because that box is too small, so we need one of those boxes. Oh man, that's a head scratcher. How to get wire from there to there to there. Time to go shopping. So guys, everything went super good with the electrician. We spent about 3 hours actually going through the garage electrical. And I know some of you thinking, well, electrician could have wired it already. Ha! He could have if he had an excellent plan. But that's what we were working on, was some of the real conundrums to this SIP ICF house thing that we're building. If this is the first video that you're watching, right now I'm working on the garage electrical. Jump back, we'll link to the first video in this series. We've already done quite a bit. We've worked a lot on the plan. We've got the wall outlets in, we've got the ceiling boxes in, and we pulled a bunch of wire to kind of get a ways. And then I had a meeting with the electrician that we've been working with as a consultant, and I wanted to not go too far. And today we're gonna learn why that is, because some of the work that I already did, you guessed it, we're gonna be undoing. But it's gonna be better, and I learned a lot from that conversation. It was also good because we worked through some of the really confusing parts that ultimately are kind of a preview of what's gonna happen to us when we start working on the upstairs electrical. Overall, the plan looks really good, but there was a couple of things that we changed. I had originally brought the home run for my 3-way switches that power the lights on the west side, the east side, and not so much the exterior, but the stairs, 2 right here. But that is gonna create a problem because there's a code that is important that requires a neutral in every single box. And that neutral isn't just a neutral wire, it needs to be on the same conduit or cable or whatever you want to call it. The way I had originally designed this, it would have become a problem right here. So we modified it to bring power to this side and to run the travelers over here. So basically, instead of bringing power over here to the stairs, we're bringing power here to the door side of this circuit. The problem is, this little tiny SIP panel, it's really small, and there's a lot going on in that panel. A quick review, this is a SIP, or a structural insulated panel, and where you see fluorescent markings, there are actually small chases that have been provided by the manufacturer to run electrical. So there's a vertical chase you can see, there's a horizontal there and there. The problem is there's a lot of wire that's going into this one panel because there's going to be a lot of switches here. There's going to be a switch for the west, a switch for the east, and a switch for the exterior. And then we have to bring power over here to power this whole thing. And then there's going to be an outlet down there. So the amount of wire going in this panel is getting pretty ridiculous. There is a provision in the electrical code for the maximum number of wires that are allowed in a raceway or in a cable. Trust me, it gets really complicated. There's really a simple rule. It's called the 1-inch rule or the 7/8 inch rule. You're allowed 3 cables in a 1-inch hole. Let me kind of show you what that looks like. So on our interior stud walls for our bathroom, there's 3 cables per hole. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you need more cables, you simply drill more holes like here and here. That's not always practical though, and with the SIPs, it's going to become a major issue because we can't just add chases wherever it is convenient. Enter a type of wire that I didn't even know existed. All right, try to follow along with me here. This wire over here is called 12-2. It has a hot wire, which is black. Unfortunately, I don't have a copper colored marker, so we're gonna pretend that purple is the ground. And this wire is actually a white wire because I can't use a white marker, right? So we have black, ground, and white. That's what we would normally use on, say, an outlet. But when we have a three-way switch, we actually need an additional wire. So we could use a wire called 12-3. So there's a black, a ground, a white, and a red. But the problem is we start running into too many of these wires, and now we have an issue with the number of cables that we're having to run to achieve the goal. There is a limit. Remember, you got a 1-inch hole and you can only put 3 wires in the 1-inch hole. That's not completely true. We'll talk more about that later. But my point is that there's actually another type of wire. There's actually what's called 12-4, but let's pretend like that doesn't exist. There's actually what's called 12-2-2. This is a black, a ground, a white, a red, and a white with a red stripe. Are you guys having fun with wiring? This is so much fun. So the thing is, every circuit has to have a neutral. Not every circuit. Every box has to have a neutral in it. And the thing with 12-2-2 is that there is a neutral wire. And because we already have a neutral, we don't need 2 or 3 or 4. And so by running one 12-2-2 cable, we're able to meet code and have one neutral in the box, but not have additional neutrals that we don't need, because if we put a neutral in the box, we have to count the neutral because it's a conductor. And so we start to run into conductor limitations with the holes, as we talked about before, and the boxes. So it's all about trying to find the least amount of conductors or wires to do the job. And the stuff that I put in the ceiling, while it will do the job, it creates an additional problem. There's too many wires. I was thinking ahead that there might be a smarter way to do this, and when we run that 12-2-2, it's actually going to open up one slot in the holes that I drilled in our I-joist. If you watch the previous video, I explain why I'm concerned about drilling too many holes in our I-joist. I think I explained in there that the only one who cares how many holes you drill is the engineer. After that, everybody else seems to just drill holes like it doesn't even matter. But it does matter. And we're trying to be very conservative so that when we later on need to add plumbing and HVAC and other services, we haven't overdone it with electrical. So I thought ahead, and this wire that I pulled through the I-joist, I pulled both ends of it through. So I actually didn't cut the wire. So it's actually still intact. So we can just pull it back out, coil it up, and we haven't wasted any wire. And we're going to replace that guy with the 12-2-2. So many good things are going to come from that one change. Which brings us all the way back to this box. By doing that one small change, it actually enables us to conceal all the wire inside this panel. Otherwise, we were going to be forced to use some sort of surface conduit or something to bring the necessary wiring down here to do the job. And while we're not opposed to conduit, we're actually going to be using some today, we like to conceal the wiring where we can. It's both visually more appealing and it's more tidy overall, less chances for things to go wrong. And we're excited that we can actually do it. Just a couple more gems from my visit with the electrician, and then we're going to get to work. So where the SIP stops at the top, unfortunately we were thinking that we could drill through the I-joist and enter the chase and then come down. Wouldn't that be discreet? And you wouldn't see the wiring. Well, unfortunately, where the I-joist is actually a different panel. It's actually the upper living area panels, and so we can't enter the chase on these panels down here. Like totally overlooked that in the design process. So unfortunately, we actually have to come down out of the I-joist and into the SIP. And I was afraid that we were going to have to use some sort of conduit or something that's kind of not very aesthetic. So it turns out that there's actually a provision to create kind of a discrete chase. We can use a piece of wood or something like that to create just a concealed area to hide the wire. We're gonna have to do that, unfortunately. It works out. And then there's one that all you 220 volt heavy appliance lovers are gonna sing the praises of the electrician. So we brought a 50 amp outlet over here, and it's currently powering the cooktop and the range. It's a 220 volt 50 amp circuit. The thinking is when the kitchen upstairs is done, these kitchen appliances will go away, and there will just leave a 50 amp outlet on the wall, so we can run a welder, a compressor, things like that. But what about if someday, maybe way in the future, we wanted to plug in a 220 volt appliance over here? Now we do intend this to be an actual garage and not just use it as a storage unit like so many people do, but I'm not sure that we'll actually need a 220 volt outlet over here. But the electrician reminded me that just because we don't know if we need one doesn't mean it's not a good reason to put one over here. And even if we put an outlet over here, it doesn't mean we actually have to wire it in. We have a couple of options. We could actually run it over here and tie it in like a daisy chain to this one, just bring power across and add an outlet, or we could home run it. That's not something we're gonna do today, but it was a great reminder that you should put outlets where you think you need them and run wire even if you think you'll never need it, because it's really easy just to land the wires at the panel and you've got electricity. Okay, you guys are kind of up to speed. Seriously, kind of. There's so much to talk about. I really want to feel the satisfaction of plugging something in and flipping a switch on. So we've got to get this work done, get it inspected, and then we can actually benefit from it all. Really? That little thing right there? Wow. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Really? You're caught around that and stuck on that. Sweet. Out with 2 wires and in with 1. And it's not even 3/8 of an inch of bend. I don't even know if that's worth bending. 3/8. Straighten out that bend. Why? So that conduit is supposed to go on that side, so I screwed that up. Let's just chalk it up to my conduit bending skills suck. Well, I just realized that this isn't a complete tragedy because this box is actually a mirrored box, so this will actually work perfectly right there. It's so funny, it unbends the bend. I bent it and then I unbent it. Another one that's not terrible, got a little bit of twist in it. It's about 1/2 inch, probably will work. So if this is coming out of the box, it's going against the wall this way. That means that this bend needs to be to the right and then to the left, or to the right and then I guess up. About there. And then we're going 3 inches. That's how far we want to travel. Well, my bend didn't happen where I wanted it to. It happened clear down here. So I don't know what happened there. That's annoying. Bend's like 3 inches off. So we actually need a bend somewhere about there. Only it's gonna undo our bend again. So how do we stop that? I can't seem to understand how this bender can bend 2 directions. It's like you can bend it once, but then as soon as you bend it the other way, it unbends the bend. Well, let's try that. Darn it, That bend is too late. Needs to move like 6 inches down. Darn it. Guess we get to fix that bend. Gosh dang it, really? Really? Come on! Why? Do I keep bending at the wrong direction? I guess I'm not gonna hate on it. It's pretty good. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. Can't believe I bent that the wrong way twice. That'll work. Ugly as heck, but whatever. I guess we could tighten that up. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Might as well make it something we're proud of. All right, let's try that. So that's better. Oh yeah, much better. I'll settle for that. Guys, I'm not really in love with it. I'm just not. I'm just not sure we have a lot of options. I guess if we would have really thought forward, okay, I'm not gonna pick on us 2 years ago, but if we would have thought really far forward, maybe we could have drilled the center of the post or something, you know, with like an 8-foot long drill bit. I'm sure they exist, they've got to exist. And that would have allowed us to conceal this wire. Conduit's an option. If we really, really, really don't like it, we could always create some sort of kind of more visually appealing chase to conceal that wire. So I guess we'll give the conduit a try. My bending skills don't help. And if we're just fed up with it someday and we're bored and we have nothing better to do, we'll fix it. All right, so now that I've worked through that one a whole ridiculously large amount, let's go back to this one and see how we did. Well, we just need to do a few things. We need to add a few bends and kind of make this a little bit prettier because that's got a huge gap behind it. I think we can do better. I don't know, guys. It looks okay, right? I guess maybe I'm looking for validation. I shouldn't be asking the world whether my house looks good. It's really up to us, right? I feel okay with it. I mean, it doesn't look as good as I'd hoped. I think I might have just overestimated my pipe bending skills, which is pretty easy to do because I basically don't have any. I have an idea for something that might just make that look less bad. I don't know if we have to leave this unpainted for inspection. There's probably a chance that we do. So if I paint that, I might be doing myself a massive disservice. So maybe I better wait. I know what to do. I just send a message to the inspector and we'll see what he says. If he makes us wait, maybe we should make him paint it himself. All right, we got more work to do. Boy, that was a really ego deflating exercise in metal bending. So let's work on something else that seems more productive. What else is there to do? Yeah, let's put this on. So we just replaced this box here because it's too small. We have an outlet and 1, 2, 3 wires. So I'm actually gonna home run from here, not here. I mean, that's just adding a bunch of wire. I already have a lot of wire in this box, and that box is gonna be another 16 feet away. Tempting to home run from here, so we need to replace that box now because that box isn't big enough for 1, 2, 3, 4 wires and an outlet. So that would mean we'd have to jump to a double gang box. Go in there, go in there, go there, go here, and go home. So there's 11 wires in that box. This guy is actually pretty big. It's actually too big, but that's okay. It's already got screws in it, so we might as well use it. So I haven't heard from the inspector, so I'm just gonna make an executive decision and we're gonna pull the wire. I think it won't be that difficult to just pull the clamps loose, slide some masking behind there, and paint it in place. It won't be as good of a job, but I think it'll be good enough. Things are kind of working out maybe a little bit better than I had planned. Just kind of sometimes when I stare at things, I see things that I didn't see on the paper. So like this wire right here that's all bundled up is actually the switching leg for the east light bank. And the problem is that this 1-inch hole right here is going to have 4 wires in it. Well, it's not. It's going to have 3. But what's really cool is I can actually take that wire, pull it back 4 bays because we ran the 1222 earlier, and run it across and jump in this hole and come over and join all that switching fun over there. Then that leaves me a spot open, and then I can use that for the home run for this north outlet circuit. It's working out better. I mean, this is how I had it drawn out, but once you start pulling wire and things start to work the way you want them to, it just feels good. So there's a bit of wire to be pulled coming this direction and that direction, so I think that's going to be a good stopping point if I can just get all that done, get this secured so we can pull wire through it and be in a good spot to pick up tomorrow. Let's see, that needs to move over here, and then we need to pull that home run and then pull that over there. Yummy. Is this for me?
Yep.
Mmm, yummy.
Is
this for me? So the green onions from the garden, the beets are from the garden, the radishes are from the garden, the lettuce is from the garden, and the nasturtiums are from the garden.
What's not from the garden?
The microgreens are from the garden, the cheese is from a cow, and this is delicious ranch dressing. Bit of a hump, guys. I got farther tonight than I thought I would, but at the same time, I didn't get as far as I wanted to. My list is so big, so I'm pushing hard to get ready for an inspection, and that way we can correct whatever we make mistakes on, and then we can finally use all this fun electrical stuff. Certainly have a big wad of like outlets and things to work on, so I think I'm gonna eat dinner, wind down, get showered, and try to be in a good spot mentally for tomorrow. I think I can make a good push and get a lot of this kind of wire nipped off, get all the outlets installed in the ceiling, kind of pull the wire to where it's terminating, get the outlets wired in, and then hopefully we're kind of down to switches and home runs and kind of landing things at the panel. Our inspector comes twice a week, and I'm hoping to kind of schedule an inspection for the first time that he comes to the area, and then of course have a day or two to get things fixed or amended that maybe we make mistakes on, and then get signed off the second time he's in town. So hopefully we can hit that mark sometime next week. It'd be really wonderful to feel like this is all benefiting us instead of just feel like there's a bunch of dangling spaghetti strings from the ceiling.
I'm hoping Jesse will sneak this into his video today, and by Jesse I mean me, because I'm the primary video editor. But look, I'm not even kidding. Every day we go into the garden, there's something different, something to look forward to. This sunflower was not here yesterday. But I thought that the one on the left would be the first to sprout because it's the biggest. We got a little like tiered effect, which is kind of fun. I'm sure it has to do with the sun or something. You, my friend, might be tomorrow.